Welcome to Grandma's Home Place. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not out in the garden, we're not cleaning, we're not fixing or repairing something, but today we're in the kitchen and we're going to make biscuits. Do you ever just get a craving for biscuits? I sure do. I don't make them real often, but sometimes I just want a good biscuit. But today I'm going to introduce you to a different flour if you have not used it before, and I imagine a lot of you haven't. I'm going to show you. I'm using Ancient Grains all-purpose Einkorn flour. This is a really good flour. It's called Einkorn, as I said, and I buy it. It comes in these. I think it's a 5-pound bag. Yes, 5-pound bag, and then I put it into my my glass container, and I just cut the label out and put the label on. It's actually on the inside of this. I like to use glass as much as possible, but so today we're going to make biscuits using the Einkorn flour. And I jotted down just a few things right quick to tell you the reason for using the Einkorn versus the store-bought, that is so readily available for us. Einkorn is an ancient grain. It's actually the original wheat without all of the good nutrients taken out, without it being over-processed. It is unhybridized, and it has the simplest genetics of all the wheats, which makes it easier for our bodies to digest. It doesn't have as much gluten. It does, I think, have some gluten, but not as much as the regular flours that we normally buy in the store. So that makes it also easier for the body to digest. It has lots of beneficial nutrients in it because they don't take it out in the process. And it has higher potassium, phosphorus, vitamin B6, vitamin A, protein. It's got a higher protein content. The difference is, and this is an all-purpose, so we have to add the leavening, which is I will use baking powder and salt. And these biscuits, they might not rise up quite as high as regular biscuits do. The texture is a little different, but still they're very delicious. The flavor, you will find the flavor to be just a little different too, but still they're just very tasty and very good. So let's get at it and let's make some biscuits. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is measure out our flour. And I'm going to put 2 cups of the Einkorn flour. And I'm going to put just a little extra in my measuring cup, so when we roll them out, we'll be ready to have that. All righty. And then we are going to put 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. If I made biscuits just the regular with the, there's one with regular flour, there's a half. I would use self-rising flour. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. So there's our leavening ingredients. And then we're just going to whisk those together just to make sure they're good and mixed with a wire whisk. That should do it. Then I'm just going to take a spoon and make a well. I'm just going to make a little well in the bottom. This is just how I always do regular biscuits, so I'm going to do the same thing with these. There's really no difference, just the flour's different. You need the leavening. My oven is preheating to 425. And then this is one of the little blocks of Crisco, and I'm going to use about, I don't know how much it is, about this much, about maybe egg size. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. All right, and I'm just going to drop that down in my flour. Then the next thing is I'm going to use some buttermilk You can also use, get it shook up good. You can also use plain milk for this. Again, I'm not measuring, and I'm just going to fill the well with buttermilk, and then we're going to mix the Crisco in with the buttermilk. So I'm just going to pour it in there. And then you can mix it with your fingers, but I'm going to just take a spoon and I'm just breaking up the Crisco and the buttermilk. And you'll see with just a little stir, and it kind of breaks it up into little pieces. I'm just stirring and mixing, and as I stir, I just bring in a little bit more of that flour from the edge until we get it all mixed together. I'm going to add just a little more buttermilk, about like that. I've added buttermilk 2 more times, just a little drop of buttermilk. It's kind of, I'm trying to hold the camera and mix and show you how I'm mixing at the same time. But this is about the consistency you want. You don't want it too wet, but you don't want it too dry either. And if it's one or the other, too wet or too dry, you can add a little bit more flour, a little bit more milk. You just want to do it at very small increments. All right, now we got it. So this is our consistency of the dough. It kind of pulls away from the side of the bowl when you stir. All right, but we don't want to stir too much. So the next thing I'm going to do is take some of my flour and sprinkle it on the counter so we can work it now. We're just going to knead it just a little. So we'll pour it out of the bowl. All right, I'm going to put a little flour on my fingers so I can scrape the spoon. And now we're ready to work it and knead it a little. So I'm going to put a little more flour on my hands just to have them. All right, and this is, I don't know if there's a right way or wrong way. This is how I was taught by my mother-in-law many, many years ago. I just fold it over and then just kind of press it, keeping the flour on the counter. That's probably good enough. And then make sure you got your flour all spread around. And then you got this nice little ball. And you could just pat it out with your hand. Now at this point, you can just pat it with your fingers before cutting it, or you can take a rolling pin and you just roll it really to your desired thickness. People like their biscuits at different thicknesses. I don't like a really thick biscuit. So, and this is a pretty good, like you can tell the thickness of what your biscuit is right there. So that's probably all I'm going to do. And I forgot to show you, I also have, whoops, I just messed up my biscuits. I have a greased cast iron, I call it my biscuit pan, and I haven't had it very long. As you know, I've also refinished some cast iron, and I did refinish this one as well. But I love it. Got flour on the bottom, and that's what we're going to put our biscuits on. I'll just see if we can just do this together. And then I'll put a little more flour right here. I have a biscuit cutter. I have no idea what size. And again, you cut your biscuits to the size that you want to cut them. We'll just start this is the fun part. Oops, I got that one a little sticky. We're going to put that one right there on our biscuit pan. I think I also mentioned The oven is heating to 425. Pretty little biscuits. This 2 cups of flour usually makes about 10 biscuits. You could probably squeeze a couple extra. Well, that depends on too what size biscuit cutter you're using. I think I can squeeze one more on there. So I'm going to gather up the little scraps of dough, pull them back together. We're going to press those out again, making sure we got plenty of flour. All right, my little pan had room for one more. I actually have enough dough. I could still make probably 2 more. Let's just see. And I could put them on a different pan to cook. Yep, there's 2. And always I take the last one. Well, this one is still pretty big. We'll pat it out. And we're going to cut another one there. Some people like to eat biscuit dough. Do y'all? I don't care to. I have children and grandchildren that love it. And then if you wanted, you can make one tiny little baby biscuit. You know, you don't want to waste any flour, right? So, so there's one tiny, tiny little one. Okay, but to show you what we've got here, there is our pan of biscuits ready to go into the oven. So let's get them cooking. I think they're done. Cooking time anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes or so. Hot pan, but I want you to see how pretty. Einkorn biscuits, so they did fluff up. There they are. Here's our biscuit. It's piping hot. I just want you to see the texture of it. So, I mean, it's fluffy on the outside. You can see the steam coming off it. So I'm going to take a knife and slice it open for you. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's so hot on the inside. And I'm going to get a little butter. Put a little butter inside that biscuit. And it's ready to eat, y'all. So I hope you'll give these biscuits a try. I'm about to probably cook me up a little egg and have a piece of bacon and put it inside one of these biscuits. And then I might put some jelly on another one, and that's breakfast. It will be delicious. And I hope y'all will try this too. Einkorn flour. The brand that I use is Ancient Grains. So just go to the ancientgrains.com website, and you'll see all the different flours that they offer. So try it up and see what you think. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.